Hey guys, my name's Alicia and I like to make a lot of thrifting and sustainable fashion kind of videos. And very recently, as you might know from my last video, I just took a trip to Paris and it was super amazing. I went with one of my really good friends. You know, we did all the typical kind of touristy things, explored the city, and of course I had to check out the thrift stores in Paris. So let's just jump into the vlog. So I'm here in Paris, France right now, and I'm about to check out all of the vintage shops that they have here. So right now we're at this place called Thrift, and we're gonna check out what they have. I'm really excited too because in a couple hours another shop opens that's where you weigh everything, so I think that's gonna be really cool. But first let's go into this store right here. Okay, so the first thrift store that we ended up going into was called Thrift, and when you first walked in, it had a really cool vibe. There was a bunch of racks on either side. It honestly really did remind me of, kind of vintage type stores in Toronto. And what really surprised me at this store were actually the prices, because typically vintage stores are a little bit pricier, but all the labels I was looking at were usually 5 or 10 euros, which really surprised me. But I later learned that this was actually kind of their discount store, I guess, and then across the street was their actual location that had the more expensive stuff. But I did still think it was really cool that they still had a whole separate kind of location just for kind of stuff they're trying to get rid of. But what I was most excited about this particular store is that they actually had a bin full of clothes where everything was only €1. So if you guys aren't sure about the conversion, €1 is equivalent to about $1 and I believe 40 cents Canadian. So there is a bit of a difference there, but when you're only spending €1, that is a very good deal. So I was really surprised by this because I feel in Toronto you don't really see those kinds of discounts. So I thought this was really cool. Of course I had to jump in there myself and check it out. It was actually pretty crowded considering. I mean, I could have spent at least a good hour digging through this bin, but I was there with my friend. I obviously had to be mindful of her and didn't want to take too long. So I managed to find 2 items out of this bin. They're kind of random, but I figured, for €1, I was gonna pick up whatever caught my eye. So the first thing that I actually ended up picking up from Thrift for €1 was this cute little polo Ralph Lauren kind of sleeveless shirt. I thought this would be very cute for the summer. Honestly, it's in a really amazing condition. I don't see any wear on it at all. And for €1, I honestly couldn't say no. I was even considering, you know what, worst case, I could definitely sell this and make a decent profit. The second item that I ended up getting from that thrift store for also only €1 was actually this whole freaking denim jacket. I didn't have a ton of room in my suitcase, but I figured if this is only €1, I'm definitely bringing this back with me. And it's actually this pretty cool style. It kind of almost has this acid wash, dark denim wash to it. And it's by this brand called Blue Dollar, which I'm assuming is a European brand, which I thought was pretty neat. And then it also just has kind of this patch on the bottom here. So I thought those were some really cool details, kind of gives it that vintage feel. But I thought it was totally worth it to pick up, especially knowing me. I'm always on the hunt for denim jackets because if you guys didn't know, I kind of thrift flip them, rework them, and resell them. So this was an amazing deal. In Canada, you would never find that kind of price, even at the Goodwill outlet or those kind of places. I feel the weight would still cost more than €1. So this was an amazing deal. So after finding those 2 items and feeling pretty good that I found something, we decided to move on down to the next shop, which is actually just down the street. So I feel this one street in Paris was kind of the thrifting hub. But the next store that we went to check out is actually called the Kilo shop. Now this one I was super excited for because the cost of everything in this store is actually measured by weight. And as you guys know, I've done a ton of thrifting videos in the past where I go to the Goodwill outlet or the Toronto Orifice Market, and I'm just a really big fan of those types of stores. So I was very excited, especially excited because I thought I was going to get some really good deals. But this store was not quite what I was expecting. As soon as you walk in, it was really big, it was very nicely laid out, everything's organized really well. It definitely looks like one of those typical, higher end expensive vintage stores you would see in Toronto. But none of the items had prices on them because, as you could tell from the signs, everything was measured by the weight. So as soon as I kind of saw this setup, I kind of had a feeling everything was going to be a little pricier than I was expecting. Honestly, like doing the conversions between euros to Canadian dollars and like kilograms to like whatever was very confusing. So it was very hard for me to be able to predict how much things were going to cost. But the vibes in there were really cool, lots of people shopping. There's actually like a basement too as well that you could check out, and kind of just like your typical stuff, you know, your trousers, your jeans, sweaters, that kind of thing. But I did find something that I was very, very happy about, and probably actually definitely my favorite thrift find on this trip for sure. So I've been on the lookout for a cardigan for a while. I have a lot of longer cardigans, but I was looking for one that was a little bit shorter, more cropped. So when I saw this one, I instantly fell in love with it. I love the color. This kind of like reddish, almost burgundy color is one of my favorite colors to wear. And I thought it was so cute that it was like speckled with a few other colors in here. I love this sort of like bat wing sleeve with kind of this ribbed sort of detailing throughout. I don't know, I just thought it made a simple cardigan like very unique. And what's really special about this too is I'm pretty certain that it is handmade because there are no tags. And if you take a look at the buttons here, there is one of them that is a little bit different than the others. So I'm pretty fairly certain that this is handmade. And I'm pretty sure it's made from wool too, just because it is like really warm and like a little bit itchy. Now the only thing with this sweater is, like I said, I was like really confused on the pricing. So when I went to the cashier to pay, like I really had no idea how much it was gonna be. It actually ended up costing me about close to $30 Canadian, which for like a thrifted item is definitely on the pricier side. Definitely back in Canada, I would not have normally spent that kind of price, but because, you know, this is such like a special item and I was on vacation, I was like, you know what, I was okay with paying like a little bit more of a premium because I normally don't typically do. But either way, I was super, super happy with this. This is definitely my favorite thing that I ended up thrifting there. So that was actually everything that I ended up thrifting in Paris. Obviously, I was pretty limited on what I could bring back in my suitcase, so I couldn't pick up that many things. Honestly, this stuff like barely even fit. But if you guys are interested, I did think it would be fun to kind of show you the other things I bought. Not necessarily thrifted, but just other things I picked up for myself. So while we were there, we also did a little bit of like, you know, typical mall shopping, which normally like I'm not a fan of. I mean, I would go as far to say that I'm not only like anti-fast fashion, but just like kind of anti-new fashion in most cases. But I did actually end up buying a couple new pieces, and this is not something I do often. I think the last time I bought like a brand new piece of clothing was like almost a year ago. So basically what I'm trying to say is I think that buying new clothing, you know, has its place if you don't do it often and if it's stuff that you're going to be wearing for a very long time. Anyways, we ended up going to a shop called Pull & Bear, which is like a European shop I've never been to before, so it was really fun. And the first thing I ended up getting were actually these kind of plaid, stretchy, flared pants. I've honestly been trying to thrift a pair of these for so long. I've been keeping an eye out for the ones they sell at Urban Outfitters and just have never been able to find them. So, you know, I kind of decided I would treat myself and buy these. And the price was only 20 euros, which honestly was pretty cheap in my opinion for like new clothing. And then also at Pull & Bear, I decided to pick up this cute little green tank top. In the summer, I wear these kinds of tank tops all the time. And this one just feels so soft and like good quality, like kind of thicker. And this actually only ended up being 8 euros. So I thought these were honestly a really good price. You know, I was on vacation. I decided to treat myself to some new clothing. And then the last thing that I picked up that I wanted to show, which I'm obsessed with, is this adorable tote bag. So in France, there is this cartoon character called Barbapapa, and me and my friend just like instantly fell in love with this character. So when we saw these tote bags with like his character on it, I like was super obsessed with it. I think it's so cute. The back just says like #artiste. And I don't actually have like a nice thick canvas kind of tote bag. My other one's like quite thin. This one's like actually really big too. So I'm in love with this bag. I'm so glad I got it. Definitely going to be cherished for a very long time. So that's all the things that I ended up getting while I was in Paris, France. It was really an amazing trip, and like if you guys have any questions on what it's like to travel during this time, you could definitely like send me a DM on Instagram and I'll answer. But yeah, I'm so happy I ended up going. Glad I got to share with you my thrifting experience there. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you soon.